To study the thoughts of all and sundry, you want to know 3 strategies are essential to master by way of gaining knowledge of those techniques you could effects discern and grasp what anybody is brooding about, so allow me inform you a Buddhist tale so that it will train you the way to study the thoughts of others in a small village a long term in the past. Brothers lived. The older brother changed into blind, so he spent most of his time at home, while the more youthful brother labored as a farmer. However, their farm become constantly being destroyed by using the numerous animals in the fields. The more youthful brother was by means of this problem, but he subsequently came up with an answer. He concept, why not ask my blind brother for help to scare away the animals inside the fields? He can take a seat in the field and shout if he hears any animal sounds, and this way our plants will be stored after. Considering it, the younger brother constructed a small hut within the subject and placed the elder brother internal it. He defined to him, brother, in case you hear any animal sounds, simply shout and the animals will run away. This can store our crops. The elder brother agreed to his younger brother's concept and started out sitting in the area. Whenever he heard the sound of animals, he shouted and scared them away. They continued this exercise for many days. One time, there was an area where a deer ran through and broke the fence. Earlier than walking away quickly after a king, who become pursuing the deer, additionally came to the field, the king noticed the blind brother and asked him, have you ever visible a deer here? The blind brother responded, your majesty, I am blind. How am I able to see a deer? However, I'm able to tell you that the animal that left my subject is not worth chasing. You're wasting it slow. The king turned into astonished by way of the blind brother's words and wondered how he knew this. The king requested the blind brother if he changed into mendacity, as he claimed to be blind but spoke approximately the worthiness of the deer. In response, the blind brother stated, your majesty, the animal you accept as true with to be a deer is truly a pregnant doe. I have never heard of a king hunting a pregnant doe, so I telling you that she isn't well worth your pursuit. You must now not waste some time chasing after her. The king became left astonished upon hearing this. He become unable to recognize how the blind person should become aware of the doe as pregnant. He contemplated, how can a blind person realize this? How can he make sure whether or not the deer I am chasing is pregnant or now not? How can he expectantly tell me of this records, no matter being blind? The king felt the want to verify this, and for this reason instructed his commander, I want that animal alive. I want to affirm whether or not it is indeed a pregnant doe. The blind man seems to be very certain approximately this, and that I need to analyze. Please pass and discover if she is pregnant. The king's orders had been received by the commander, who proceeded whilst he got here returned. He told the king that the blind brother changed into accurate and that the doe was pregnant. The king became packed with surprise and couldn't figure out how the blind individual had known about the doe's pregnancy. The king had many questions in his mind and decided to ask the blind guy to get to the lowest of this appearance. I won't understand whether or not you are without a doubt blind or not, but I have come to invite you one thing. Will you deliver me the appropriate answer to my question? In reaction, the blind brother stated, your majesty, you can inquire from me something you need, and I will answer you. Certainly, the king stated, you're a sensible man, and you appear to have an eager knowledge of many stuff nowadays. I have known as you to find out whether or not my wife is faithful to me or not. The blind brother spoke back, your majesty, what type of query is that this your marriage has lasted for many years, and now you need to understand such matters. Why are those questions springing up in your mind? But the king insisted, pronouncing, you must solution this query in case you do no longer offer me With a solution, I will punish you. With the death penalty hearing the king's danger, the blind brother said, Your Majesty, if you need the solution to this query, you may ought to do me. Desire, the king requested, tell me, what do I want to do? The blind brother replied, For that you may should go away your spouse on my own with me in a room. The king was initially irritated upon hearing it, but he eventually agreed to the request and ordered his commander to depart the blind brother and the queen by myself in a room. At that second, the blind brother expressed his desire to touch the queen. Upon hearing this, the queen became furious and started beating the blind brother along with her hands, feet, and all her might. Afterwards, the blind man by some means managed to get away and went to the king. Then the blind brother advised the king, Your Majesty, your wife is untrue. The king, enraged, drew his sword and went to the queen. Then the king asked a query. Caution her that any falsehood could result in her execution. He asked if she changed into faithful or not, to which the queen responded, Your Majesty, you could as properly kill me, however, I am not devoted. The king is thrilled due to the fact the entirety the blind brother has said is proper. Upon hearing this, the king immediately went to the blind brother and requested, How did you realize that my spouse isn't trustworthy? The blind man replied, Your Majesty, is pretty easy. I informed your spouse that I wanted to touch her, and she or he became so enraged that she began beating me when I told her that I desired to touch her. She should have refused, however, rather she began to beat me, and inside the technique she touched my whole frame. Now you tell me, he endured. How can such a woman be faithful? The king stated, You're pretty smart, all proper. Then allows, continue he delivered, answer one more query efficaciously, and I will let you cross from right here. The king then requested, Inform me, am I without a doubt my father's son, or someone else's? To this the blind brother replied, Your Majesty, why do you trouble with this question? No, count who your dad and mom are. You're the king of this country, so permit this question go. What the king insisted, No, I need the precise answer to this question. Otherwise, this query will constantly bother me, so I want to recognize the fact. The blind brother answered, Your Majesty, I will tell you right now whose child you are. However, before that, I need you to promise, which you might not get indignant with me. The king said, I promise I won't get irritated with you. Then the blind brother said to the king, You are indeed your father's son, but you are also under the shadow of a miserly merchant. Upon listening to this, the king rushed to his mom. He requested her mother, Please inform me the reality. Am I truly my father's son, or someone else's? In case you don't inform me the truth, I will give up my lifestyles proper. Here to this, the king's mom stated, Son, you are indeed your father's baby, but you also are beneath the shadow of a miserly merchant. Upon listening to this, the king is extremely joyful, and right now returns to the blind brother. He requested, How did you realize that the shadow of a miserly merchant become on me? The blind guy responded, Your Majesty, you asked me many questions, and I gave you the proper solutions to they all. In case you were any different king, I'd have received many rewards by now, but you have not given me a unmarried penny thus far. It turned into from this that I envisioned that you are very stingy. The king bursts into laughter and says, Whatever you ask for, I will supply it to you. However, tell me, how do you know what is right and what is incorrect? How are you going to provide such accurate and unique solutions? To this, the blind brother stated, Your Majesty, I am blind, by using nature if I had. Ease, I may want to without difficulty understand anyone's. Thoughts, the thoughts has its language, and this language can be seen inside the movements of someone's body by way of looking at someone's eyes, lips, the manner they work, and their sports you could understand. What is going on of their mind based totally on this? We can recognize the thoughts of absolutely everyone. However, I am blind, so I understand through movements. If I want to understand something, I have to assign a mission to the subsequent man or woman to see how that man or woman works and how he does the task, and primarily based on that I can recognize what is going on in his mind. Fee, the king requested, so does that suggest I also can know a person's mind to this? The blind brother stated clearly, you too can recognize everybody's mind, but earlier than that you need to paintings on yourself, and that paintings is to calm your mind and deliver your thoughts into the existing for. That today I am going to tell you 3 ways, and these 3 approaches are very smooth and easy, but your majesty, earlier than that, you have to do one thing: consciousness your thoughts. When we recognition our thoughts and merge our mind into the present, we can apprehend the mind of others, because that individual is wandering inside the present, and we also need to deliver our minds into the present. Most effective then can we apprehend their mind if we are thinking about beyond events. How can we recognize what the following person is wondering in the prevailing, because we're immersed in past occasions, to realize everybody's thoughts. First and foremost, we want to attention our minds and produce them into the prevailing. After that, the blind brother told the king, your pray to, yes, your majesty, I will tell you the 3 approaches by means of which you can effortlessly understand everybody's thoughts. Then the blind man says to the king, O king, the first technique is to pay interest to the eyes. The most important component when we communicate to someone is to look them in the eyes, due to the fact eyes don't communicate, but they say plenty. If we learn how to understand the indicators in someone's eyes, we are able to realize what goes on in their thoughts, what they are questioning, and what they may be approximately to do. I don't have eyes myself, however, I discovered this ability from the revered Gautam Buddha many years. In the past, he became my instructor and guide. I used to have eyes again then, and I ought to understand human beings' mind solely through their eyes. So if you additionally need to recognize the mind of others, you must attention on their eyes, which includes their gaze, where they are searching and in what direction. If their eyes are wandering here and there while you're speaking to them, in manner they are searching for way to get away from the verbal exchange, and someone might be lying if the individual is avoiding in direct eye contact. It means they are afraid that their lie might be exposed and people will study the reality. However, if their eyes examine you without moving, they may be likely honest and fascinated. They want to speak to you and share their mind. Also see how their eyebrows flow. If their eyebrows cross down whilst they appearance away, they is probably thinking tough or worried approximately something else. If their eyebrows move up and their eyes get big, they is probably amazed or curious about what you say. Also see how large or small their pupils are. The pupils are the black a part of the attention. If the pupils get bigger, it way they prefer you or what you are saying, they're excited or glad. If the pupils get smaller, it method they don't, such as you or what you assert, they are uncomfortable or irritated. Also see how pink or white their eyes are. The white part of the attention is known as the skara. The skara is red. At approach, they may be tired. Stressed or unwell, they won't need to. Talk to you. I remember a time when I met a worn-out person who was visiting while we talked. His eyes appeared around loads. Never searching at me, this showed that he turned into concerned and wanted to head away rapid-eye. Concept he might be hiding something. He did no longer need to talk to me. Then I asked him extra questions. I found out he had a secret plan. In addition, other facial expressions can assist us easily recognize someone's mind now and again. Someone well-known shows distinctive behaviors via their face. If you pay attention to someone's facial expressions, you could, without difficulty, recognize if the person is disappointed, very sad, or extraordinarily satisfied. You can also parent out what they're feeling inner, and all these items can be determined through their facial expressions. Your Majesty, the face is like an image that suggests what humans are feeling interior, although they do not say something. If you need to apprehend human beings better, you need to pay attention to those silent signs and symptoms. When you see a person whose mouth turns down at the aspects, creating a small sad face, it usually manner they may be unhappy now, not thrilled, or have lost something. You can also inform with the aid of their eyes and their body if they may be feeling low. Alternatively, a large and real smile, one that makes the eyes and the cheeks pass up, is an indication of happiness, friendliness, and kindness. The eyes are very important in this. When they get small and vivid, you could ensure that the smile is actual. Take a look at the gap among someone's eyebrows, wherein the pores and skin wrinkles. When it gets deeper and tighter, it frequently approach. They are conf-burdened, wondering, difficult, or seeking to apprehend something hard or new. The way the mouth is can let you know a lot. A mouth that is closed and squeezed can also mean they do not agree, do not like something, or do not need to talk. However, a mouth that is open and at ease means they're open, comfortable, and equipped to talk. As you get better at seeing and expertise these signs and symptoms on the face, you may be able to understand what humans are questioning and feeling inside, whether they say their feelings out loud or maintain quiet. Their faces will show you what's in their coronary heart, whether a man or woman speaks with their phrases or now not. You can recognize the whole thing from their face. Your Majesty, I'm able to inform you a tale. One time I met a sad character who got here to me for assist, but they acted like they did not care. However, I noticed a small line on their brow. It confirmed they'd a hassle. I asked them to inform me their hassle, and they did. They felt better after that, and that I helped them. Actual smile makes the eyes satisfied to it way. They're satisfied, and kind of frown makes the eyebrows move down. It means they may be concerned or stressed. The eyebrows pass up. Whilst they may be surprised or curious, you can tell how they feel by means of searching at their face. Persevering with the blind brother advised the king approximately the 1/3 approach, saying, Your Majesty, there is a third language too. That is the language of gestures and frame language. To understand someone's thoughts, we want to recognize hand gestures and frame language. While someone speaks, you can have observed that they keep shifting their palms and making gestures further to words. Their frame language plays a considerable function in conveying what a character is wondering. Your Majesty, the body and the arms can say lots of things without phrases. It smiles like a secret way of speak me, wherein you may see what people need and feel via the small matters they do consider. When someone faucets their hands rapid, even as they're speaking to you, while arms make a short sound on something, it may mean they're bored in a rush or want to cease the speak soon I. Don't forget a time when I met a person who wanted to promote me something, and he did. This sign I knew he changed into fearful, so I made him provide me a better charge, and he became surprised additionally when someone crosses their fingers they might not, such as you, or what you are saying they're hiding there. Thoughts from you this way of protecting their fingers is sort of a wall maintaining their thoughts and feelings secure from others. By means of seeing this signal, you can be great and careful while you speak to them and make them experience more cozy and open whilst someone leans forward. They might be interested in you or what you are saying. They are taking note of you carefully. This approach they're interested and need to pay attention greater. This way of shifting their frame shows they need to listen, learn, and recognize what you are announcing. I as soon as met a clever teacher who did this. He became very calm, however, he leaned in with interest, showing he desired to understand more approximately the topic on occasion. Individuals who contact their faces plenty when they talk to you may assist you realize what they are thinking. It regularly method they are worried, thinking tough, or having a massive concept. These small touches show you what is going on in their thoughts and coronary heart to be true at know how others by means of their frame and hands. You have to be affected person. Watch cautiously and admire the things they don't say, those small, however important signs like a quiet book show you the emotions and mind that are hidden interior them and let you connect with them higher. If we pay interest to these three methods and recognize them correctly, we can speedy realize what's taking place in a person's mind, how a whole lot interest they're giving to our phrases and what's taking place of their mind. However, earlier than that, you have to focus your thoughts and produce it into the present. Handiest then can you pay interest to these types of movements, understand them, and realize what's taking place in the man or woman's thoughts. Otherwise, in case you are preoccupied with beyond activities or plans, you'll by no means pay attention to the character's frame, language, and you'll never apprehend what is happening in their thoughts, what they are thinking. You may have seen many super saints and enlightened beings who look at you with excellent calm and might inform you what is taking place on your mind and what you've got come to examine from them. The most important cause for this is that they can read you and understand you due to the fact their mind is targeted and peaceful, and it truly is why they are able to without problems apprehend your thoughts. As we come to the end of this Zen journey, Inspa Zen crew would want to explicit our deepest gratitude to your awesome aid on this adventure. In pen, because expertise has the energy to elevate your